Despite the music and dancing, this is not a happy occasion. Protesters rally in the streets of Sao Paulo to mourn the murder of a prominent politician, once described as a tireless social warrior. The biggest marchers were in her hometown of Rio de Janeiro, where tens of thousands of Brazilians gathered outside the city's council. This is the woman whose killing has provoked such outrage, Marielle Franco. The 38-year-old councillor has become a voice for gay and black rights, as well as fighting against police violence in poor areas of the city.
The story of Marielle Franco is starting to garner attention all around the world. Franco, a 38-year-old city council member in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, was killed along with her driver on Wednesday night in what many suspect was a political assassination. Franco gained attention in Brazil for her no-holds-barred style of politics, her vocal criticism of police violence in a city where scores of black men are killed, many by the police, every year. This was Franco less than 1 month ago, speaking about the military police takeover in Rio. Joining me now is Daniela Gomes da Silva, an Afro-Brazilian activist and PhD candidate in African and African diaspora studies at the University of Texas at Austin. Daniela, thank you so much for being here. Tell us a little bit about Marielle Franco and what kind of impact she was having in Brazil.
Thank you for holding me. It's a pleasure to talk about this issue, and thank you for the opportunity to make Marielle's voice echo in a certain way. Marielle was a young leader. She was 38 years old. She came from a reality of favela communities, and she had a history of activism in her community, and later political participation. She was the fifth most voted councilwoman in municipal elections in Rio de Janeiro in 2016, and she had more than 50,000 votes. So you can imagine the representation of a woman, a black woman from the hood, from the slums, basically having 50,000 people voting for her and giving her the power of representation because they saw their reflection on her. So for us as black activists in Brazil, especially those who were walking in with Marielle directly, what is not my case, but I know people who are really close to her, it's like Marielle is dead, it's in a certain way our death as well.
Let's show some video of Marielle on Wednesday night, and this was literally just before she was killed. Here's some video of her. She was speaking at an event that she'd organized about black women's empowerment. It was actually broadcast on Facebook Live. There were women from all over the world, including the United States, who were there, who were with her just before she was killed. Amnesty International has now called for an investigation of this death. Do you believe, Daniela, that this was essentially a political hit? That she was shot, I believe, 8 times. She was shot in a car. Her driver was also killed. She was shot in the head multiple times. Do you believe that this was a political assassination? Because it appears the government is trying to say something else.
Of course, it's not possible to believe anything else. The investigation just discovered that the bullets that shot Marielle were bullets that were stolen from the Federal Police of Brazil, and that were already involved in another mass murder in the city of São Paulo, in the city of Osasco, in the state of São Paulo, 2 years ago, where more not good police officers, they are actually practicing police abuse. So it's not possible for us to think something else.
Yeah, and I want to just point out that Brazilian Forum on Public Security has pointed out that 3,345 people have been killed by police officers, including off-duty in 2015. I want to, before we go, you're in Austin, where we just witnessed several package bombs distributed that have killed 2 black victims, one victim who was Latina, but the thinking is that the package was not not meant for her. Anything that you're learning there in Austin about that?
Yes, of course. We are all afraid here, scared about that. And one thing that has in common is that it's not a coincidence that people who die in Brazil, because in Brazil it's not only Marielle, we have 83 black people dying in Brazil per day. And those bombs here coming is specifically for African American communities in Austin.
Yeah.
And so that is really something that we need to consider. And even, of course, we need to respect the victims that... Hello?
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. We might be
yes.
losing you. I did hear you. I apologize. Yeah, no, we had a little bit of a sound connection, but I think that you've spoken loud and clear. There's a reason they call it a diaspora. Daniela Gomez da Silva, thank you so much for your time.
You're welcome.
Thank you. And there's more OAM Joy after the break.